Well, it's been 9 years since the stage musical Dear Evan Hansen premiered on Broadway in 2016, winning 6 Tony Awards, including Best Musical. It follows an anxious teenager navigating the ups and downs of high school. Now, audiences here have finally been given the chance to see the show starring Beau Woodbridge in the title role, and I caught up with him a little earlier. Beau Woodbridge, thanks so much for joining us on News Breakfast.
Thank you for having me.
Now, can you tell us a little bit, what is Dear Evan Hansen about?
Yeah, Dear Evan Hansen, it's a fantastic show. It's about a 17-year-old boy and he's very socially anxious, and it explores kind of in high school and life around him and the kind of challenges of his social anxiety, and also kind of a lie that spirals a bit out of control, and we see the effect that that has on those around him. And it's also kind of really in that contemporary world, so a real contemporary musical theatre show, and we see that in social media and how that takes hold of things, and then it's got a great kind of pop rock score as well, which is really, really fun to do show after show.
It is quite a heavy topic, but you do it in this very gentle, very humorous sort of a way. How do you find that balance?
Yeah, I think some of the kind of humour in the show and the joy comes from the fact that Evan can be quite lovable in his little idiosyncrasies and things like that, and so we find, I think the audience really find joy in the awkwardness as well. There's definitely moments of laughter, and there's sometimes we find it interesting seeing what audiences react to very differently for different shows. I was saying to my mother in the show, Verity Hunt-Ballard, that there's these very interesting moments where sometimes people just laugh because they feel quite awkward about a situation that's happening on stage. But then, you know, we've got these great characters, Jared and Alana, that are some of the younger characters that provides kind of comedic relief a little bit throughout. Yeah, it's really fun.
And you play Evan Hansen. What's it like for you? As you say, it's quite sort of an anxious, sort of complex role, I suppose.
Yeah, it is very complex, and it comes with its challenges, both vocally. It's a very vocally demanding show, so there's the challenges of doing that, but also the you know, internal things that are going on every show, and Evan goes on a real journey throughout the production. So, you know, you have your little like rituals that you go through every show before and after. For me, I like listening to my own music before the show and after the show to kind of get back into my own headspace. But yeah, there's all those little things that help you keep Evan at work, I guess, for me.
Now, I understand it was a bit of a dream of yours to play Evan ever since you saw the musical. Was it back in 2014?
Yeah, around that time, I think 2015 or so.
And what was it that struck you about the show that made you want to be a part of it?
Well, I think when I saw it for the first time, it was something that everybody finds a bit of relation to, and I definitely could find relations to the show in general, and also the music. At that point, for me, I just thought the music was amazing, and Pasek and Paul, the writers, were just fantastic, and it really is standalone, the music itself, and there's, you know, it's very kind of popular, that soundtrack, and then I think when you see the show as well, it's not always what you're expecting when you hear the soundtrack, but in the best way possible.
It is hard to, I imagine, convey like a digital world through song and also visually on stage. How has the production gone about that, trying to convey something that's sort of very intimate and present it as a whole thing for an audience to consume?
Yeah, no, I was really intrigued because we've got the new Australian production, so taking, you know, what was on Broadway and West End and kind of creating our own version of this show. So we had that freedom to change things up, and it's really interesting with, you know, director Dean Bryant, the vision that was brought to life by the entire creative team is, you know, this kind of openness, and we have this great audio-visual components in the show that are used really amazingly, in my opinion. They're sparing, but when they're there, they really hit you in the audience, and I think it's not what you're expecting to have. End of Act 1, the song You Will Be Found is a really good example of that, and there's these great little snippets of people on the internet, you know, talking about their comments, but it's a really timeless design, which I really enjoy, rather than, you know, recreating a social media format where you go in a year's time, all that's aged a bit. Yeah.
Well, Beau Woodbridge, congratulations and thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Have you ever felt like nobody was there? Have you ever felt forgotten the middle of nowhere. Have you ever felt like you could disappear? Like you could fall and no one would hear? So let that lonely feeling wash away. Maybe there's a reason to believe you'll be okay. 'Cause when you don't feel strong enough to stand, you can reach out your hand. And oh, someone will come running, and I know they'll take you home. Even when the dark comes crashing through, when you need a friend to carry you, when you're broken on the ground, you will be found. So let the sun come streaming in, 'cause you'll reach up and you'll rise again. Lift your head and look around, you will be found. 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 There's a place where we don't have to feel unknown. And every time that you call out, you're a little less alone. If you only say the word, from across the silence, your voice is heard. Even when the dark comes crashing through, when you need a friend to carry you, when you're broken on the ground, you will be found. 'Cause you'll reach up and you'll rise again. If you only look around, you will be found. You will be found. You will be found.